It's D-U-E-U tell. I see you by this point, you're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, man. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, yeah.
Welcome to Football Game Plan's NFL All 32. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and today we're going to preview the Arizona Cardinals, and we're going to take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the Cardinals season as we go into our 4-minute offense. Arizona adds another weapon on the perimeter in Hopkins, who comes over from the Houston Texans via trade. Now, Hopkins is in the conversation for the title of the best receiver in the NFL as he's coming off of 3 straight All-Pro seasons, scoring 54 touchdowns in his career and has over 8,600 receiving yards. Being able to acquire the services of a player like Hopkins can only expedite the growth process for a young second-year quarterback in Kyler Murray. And when you add him to a core that includes future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald and an emerging Christian KIRK, Hopkins should continue to thrive as he makes the move out to the desert this upcoming season. Second-year quarterback Kyler Murray played well last year for Arizona, dispelling a bunch of old and tired football myths in the process. Last season, Murray completed 64% of his passes for 3,722 yards and 20 touchdowns. He was also able to chip in 544 yards on the ground with 4 rushing touchdowns. He was essentially exactly the same player he was at Oklahoma last year for the Cardinals, a dazzling playmaker with the ability to put the ball anywhere he wants to on the field. Obviously, there are some areas where he's expected to grow this upcoming season, avoiding avoidable sacks, being a better deep ball passer, much more consistent deep ball passer, and being a little bit more decisive as well, all of which should come this season as we saw the game begin to slow down for him as the 2019 season went on. Murray enters 2020 brimming with confidence that he can get the Cardinals to the playoffs. It's also year 2 for head coach Kliff Kingsbury as well. The former longtime college head coach was able to make the transition to the NFL quite well. As we saw, Murray got better as the season went on, so did Kingsbury in his game management, being willing to make adjustments to his scheme and play calling when so many tend to be married to my way or the highway type of approach to coaching. His adjustments had a positive effect on the team as he saw a coach who ended up tweaking what he was known for, and because it wasn't successful, moved on to something different because it put the team in a better position to win games. So we've seen many college coaches struggle to make that transition to the pro game, but Kingsbury showed last season that he's not above self-scouting, reworking a plan, and heading in a different direction. One area where the Cardinals are seeking improvement is on the defensive side of the ball. They were very active this offseason in accumulating talent, whether it was in free agency or in the 2020 NFL Draft. Now, this defense ranked 32nd last year as they struggled to get to the quarterback, struggled to stop the passing game, and also struggled to get turnovers. But to be completely fair, the Cardinals dealt with injuries, a 6-game suspension to its superstar corner Patrick Peterson, all the while trying to learn a new scheme under defensive coordinator Vance Joseph. The hope is that with the second year within his scheme, key players with a full bill of health, along with an influx of talent, that should help the Cardinals see a much better outcome defensively in 2020. The Cardinals made the right move last year, moving on from Josh Rosen and drafting Kyler Murray. Now, he inherited essentially the same team and proved to be a big-time improvement over the previous QB. His ability as a dual threat in today's game is what helps make he and the Cardinals offense very difficult to defend. Now, we talked earlier about where he has room to grow his game, and one area you would expect to see improvement is in that sack number, which was 48 last year, tops in the NFL. Arizona should be much improved up front, and some of the sacks that Murray took were on him, so that should be minimized this season as he becomes a more decisive runner, scrambler, and passer. Expect a big jump in productivity from the former Heisman Trophy winner. Now, they have a really good backup QB in Brett Hundley, who gives them a player that's stylistically similar to Murray and one who has valuable experience as a starter in the NFL. Gone from the mix in the backfield is David Johnson, who was sent off to Houston in that Hopkins trade, but that doesn't mean the Cardinals' backfield will suffer. In fact, it creates more of an opportunity for guys that will provide a bit more juice in the run game. We saw how beneficial it was for the run game when they added Kenyon Drake midseason in the trade with the Miami Dolphins. He ended up being the leading rusher on the team, making an immediate impact in a primetime matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. Drake longed for an extended opportunity to be the lead guy or more playing time out there on the field, and he was rewarded with that last season in Arizona. We also got to see third-year player Chase Edmonds make his presence felt as well. When Drake was out with an injury, Edmonds earned a start against the New York Giants and ran for 126 yards and 3 touchdowns, proving he can handle the load if need be. He has very good agility and burst to be a perfect co-pilot to Drake. And in the draft, the Cardinals picked up Eno Benjamin out of Arizona State, who is equally as quick and shifty as Edmonds, just giving them what looks to be a very interchangeable backfield with guys that can do damage on both ends of offense. The Cardinals will potentially boast one of the best receiving corps in football this upcoming season. We know about DeAndre Hopkins and his talents, and he should make quick friends with Kyler Murray, whose style will remind him a lot of Deshaun Watson. And while Larry Fitzgerald is entering his 17th season in the NFL, he is still a very productive player, leading the team in receiving last year with 75 receptions for 804 yards. And he was quickly able to develop chemistry with Kyler Murray, and seeing his potential has Fitzgerald excited for what's to come. And Christian KIRK has gotten steadily better each season and figures to be one of the wideouts who should benefit the most from Hopkins' arrival. KIRK battled an ankle injury last year, but still proved to be a dependable, consistent target. A healthy season should have him crack the 1,000-yard barrier for the first time in his career. Now, where the Cardinals are expecting growth this year is from a bevy of second-year players like Andy Isabella, Keyshawn Johnson, and Hakeem Butler. Both Isabella and Johnson flashed at times last season, while Butler missed the entire rookie campaign stemming from an injury he suffered during training camp. And what is now a crowded depth chart, he will have to flash this year in order to stick. And we started to see the tight end position become more involved as the season went on, with Max Williams leading the way. He enjoyed his most productive season since his rookie campaign, while also being a valuable asset as a run blocker. And one figures to see the role of Dan Arnold expand this season. The former New Orleans Saint and former Division III wide receiver turned tight end has the ability to be a threat in the passing game, but it was consistency or lack thereof in New Orleans that ultimately saw him get released. Now, if he's able to build on what we saw last year, he may begin to flatline that consistency, trending upwards as a player. Up front along the offensive line, the tackle position looks to be in much better shape, both presently and in the future. Being able to lock up DJ Humphries with the contract extension after his stellar season was a good thing for the offensive line. Humphries played his best ball in 2020, figuring it would be a sign of more to come. The Cardinals wanted to reward him by extending him. Getting Marcus Gilbert back after a torn ACL should give Arizona 2 solid bookends, and if Gilbert can't return to form, the team is very high on third-round pick Josh Jones out of Houston. He has tremendous talent, and I thought he'd go much higher in the draft. So in my eyes, the Cardinals got themselves a steal and a future starter at right tackle. Veteran Kelvin Beachum was signed this offseason to provide depth at the position, and I'm excited to see what development second-year player Joshua Miles makes this season. He has very good athleticism and upside, and got his feet wet a bit last year as a rookie. Now, Arizona got really steady play inside with Justin Pugh and J.R. Sweezy, and having both out there for a full season really helps strengthen the cohesiveness of the unit as a whole. And Mason Cole is ready to take the next step in his progression as he enters the season as a starter at center. He started 2 games last year, but figures to be looked toward to become the anchor right there in the middle. And if not, he'll have to hold off competition from second-year player Lamont Galliard out of Georgia, who has the athleticism to play both guard and center. It all starts up front with the Cardinals wanting to improve defensively, and they've made some investments here to do just that. However, one of the key cogs to the potential turnaround will be the second-year player Zach Allen out of Boston College. Now, last season he played a lot early on before missing a bulk of the year with a neck injury, and he's expected to be at full strength and gives them a strong point of attack player who could win with power. Opposite of him, they brought in Jordan Phillips from the Buffalo Bills, who is coming off the best season of his career and is just entering the prime of his career. He's got good explosiveness off the ball and provides an excellent complement to Allen. Inside will be Corey Peters once again, who has been a model of consistency throughout his career, and where they invested more into this unit was in the 2020 NFL Draft. Now, in the 4th round, they doubled down on defensive linemen with Rashard Lawrence out of LSU and Leki Fotu out of Utah. Both will aim to provide good depth up front, with Fotu being viewed as a future heir apparent at nose tackle. Don't sleep on second-year player Michael Dogby out of Temple, who gives them a pressure-type player at defensive end. He has the versatility to play across the defensive line, and we'll see his minutes increase in sub packages. The same can be said for Jonathan Bullard, who may actually start at some time during the year. He came over last year from Chicago and worked himself into the rotation before getting injured, showing good ability before being out the rest of the season. The linebacking core is where the most excitement about the 2020 Cardinals defense lies. Chandler Jones is one of the best pass rushers in football and is coming off of a 19-sack season, which put him second in the NFL in that category. He also finished second in the Defensive Player of the Year voting, and getting help opposite of him could help him reach that goal of being number one. The help figures to come in the form of Devin Kennard, the free agent signee from the Detroit Lions. Now, while Kennard isn't an explosive edge rusher, he is a consistent one and one who garners attention. He's also a very good run defender as well. The help could also come from rookie first-round pick Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson, who can play virtually any spot within the back seven, quite honestly. And Simmons will be the chess piece for Vance Joseph's defense and has a ton of athleticism and playmaking ability. Now, whether he is an inside or outside backer, all depends on the situation. You just want him to be out there on the field, regardless, playing defense. Arizona also brought in Devondre Campbell in free agency from the Atlanta Falcons, who does a great job in coverage. He gives them more athleticism, versatility, and length at the second level. And last year, Jordan Hicks proved to be a huge signing for them, leading the team in tackles with 150, and 93 of them were solo stops, and he also had 11 TFLs. Hassan Reddick will more than likely continue to be a sub-package player. He's got a good array of skills, but just hasn't been able to find that level of consistency needed to justify that first-round pick. He and rookie sixth-round pick Evan Weaver out of Cal figured to provide depth inside. I think Weaver will find a way into the rotation at some point during the season. And what was supposed to be a solid situation heading into the 2019 season quickly turned into a dire one, as Patrick Peterson was served with a 6-game suspension and free agent signee Robert Alford was lost for the season with an injury. Peterson started to get his sea legs underneath him toward the end of last year, and Alford is back at 100% and ready to hit the ground running this upcoming season. Now, what that did was thrust second-year player Byron Murphy into the lineup as a rookie, and the former Washington Husky was able to hold his own and be a steady presence out there on the field. Third-year player Chris Jones stepped in as well and played admirably and figures to be a part of the rotation on the outside. But I'm intrigued by undrafted rookie free agent Jace Whitaker out of Arizona. He's got good ball skills and matchup ability. I think he has the potential to thrive inside as an overhang defender. So entering 2020, the Cardinals have a strong quintet, in my opinion, out there on the perimeter. Now, they were in much better shape at safety, led by Budda Baker. He led the league in solo tackles with 104, making his second Pro Bowl appearance. He gives them a game breaker on the back end. I'm excited to see what second-year pro Jalen Thompson can do this season as he builds on a solid rookie year. He came into the league via the supplemental draft and ended up starting 9 games for Arizona at strong safety. He provided a good complement to Baker in the secondary, and it'll be interesting to see what role Deontay Thompson serves this year. He was drafted last season but seemed to get usurped by Jalen Thompson. At worst, he'll give them very good depth at the position. Football Game Plan is brought to you in part by 9th and Lux. Visit the website 9thandlux.com and check out the clothing gallery. Nesby Phipps, art, life, entertainment. NesbyPhipps.com. Grind It Out Fitness. Visit the website grinditoutfitness.com and download the app. Financial Coaching LLC, investment, retirement, security. Stewardship Credit, financial growth is in your hands. Stewardshipcredit.com. Adrienne Marie Photo, photographer, writer, management. AdrienneMariePhotography.com. Lock Multimedia. Be sure to order your copy of the Go-Go Offense by Coach Brennan Marion on footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Coach Marion goes through the ins and outs of his explosive offense, one that's tearing up the college football field and putting a lot of points on the scoreboard. Again, you can order your copy at footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. There are a couple of potential offensive camp surprises for the Cardinals, one being second-year player Joshua Miles, who spent the 2019 season getting acclimated to the pro game, and after a year of pro strength and conditioning, he'll be ready to make a move up the depth chart. Free agent signee Chris STREVELER made the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as a rookie out of the University of South Dakota and ended up starting some games up there as well. He actually became one of the bright young stars at the position in the CFL and will give Brett Huntley some competition this summer. And JOJO Ward, the undrafted rookie free agent out of Hawaii, has more polish and nuance at the position than many air raid receivers before him. He's explosive and dynamic with the ball in his hands, which should give him a chance to surprise in camp. Now defensively, Robert Alford gets the chance to remind folks on how talented he is and how much of his ability to play the ball will be a welcome addition on the back end. I think we'll see Josh Jones earn significant playing time as the season goes on. He was one of the better tackle prospects in college football and will prove this year that he is the future on the right side. Look for Isaiah Simmons to make numerous all-rookie teams this year. I don't care what position you want to designate him. All I know is that the dude makes plays and will make many of them this upcoming season. KIRK gets the nod for the X factor on offense. You have to figure with the attention that DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald would garner, it opens the door for the third-year pro to break through, and it'll be up to him to take full advantage. Defensively, Patrick Peterson needs to revert back to his 2018 form. Last year was a mulligan when you considered all that transpired. He has a chance to get back into the conversation of being one of the best corners in the game and not one who's starting to show age. Kyler Murray will fully break out this season. Everything lines up for him to make that happen. The Cardinals did a great job of building around him, solidifying the offensive line, and equipping him with good explosive pieces in the backfield. So expect him to reward the team with better and more improved play. And I'm a Zach Allen fan, and the fact that he was heavily involved within his defense earlier in the season prior to the injury just shows how much they think of what he brings to the defensive front. I would expect him to have a banner season. One of the major reasons for optimism for Arizona is the fact they have a lot of young talent on that team. They had a lot of young talent last year, and they're going to mature and play like veterans, and that's going to be huge for this team moving forward. But you're excited about the potential, and also you have to be excited about the strong veteran presence at key positions. They have a playmaker at corner in Patrick Peterson, a future Hall of Famer in Larry Fitzgerald, with also a guy that's on the Hall of Fame track in DeAndre Hopkins, and one of the best pass rushers in football in Chandler Jones. So they got youthful talent and a strong veteran presence, which makes you optimistic about the upcoming season. Now, the biggest cause for concern would be the lack of normalcy around the offseason that would stunt the growth of a young team that's trying to get to that next level, because you didn't have the regular offseason, the OTAs, the rookie minicamps, the veteran minicamps, all of those things you normally have. Because we didn't have that because of COVID-19, it could potentially stunt the growth of this young football team that still has a ton of talent. The road to the Super Bowl for the Cardinals goes as follows. Number one, this offense takes the next step and becomes dynamic and explosive and scores a lot of points. They have the weapons on the perimeter, they have the explosiveness in the backfield, and they also have the quarterback to get the job done. If the back seven, the newly revamped back seven, creates havoc and starts to get to the quarterback and turn the ball over, this team could definitely go far. And they have to learn to close out tight games. This wasn't a bad team per se last year. They just lost a lot of close games late. That's going toward them maturing as a group, and if that happens, the Cardinals could find themselves heading east to Tampa for the Super Bowl. I have the Cardinals finishing first in the NFC West. What I like about what they have so far in this roster, explosive talent on offense. You have to be able to score the ball, and they should be able to score in bunches this season. And defensively, I do think they've made enough improvements athletically within the back seven to match up, disrupt, and take the ball away. So I think the Cardinals could finish first in the NFC West this upcoming season. So that's it for this edition of Football Game Plan's NFL All 32. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Also subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating. That's where you can find our NFL All 32 podcast. And keep it locked here on the Football Game Plan YouTube channel, where we have a ton more of Cardinals related video content coming down the pike.
It's EU till I see you by this point. You're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it. Let's do it. We gon' make this thing official. You heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit. Man, we about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it. Let's do it. We gon' make this thing official. You heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit. Yeah.